Two lovers once sat dreaming of scenes o'ergrown by years. Sweet Daisy's eyes were eloquent with girlhood's pleading tears. Her little hand was lying confidingly in mine, while her silvery voice pleaded, "Dear one, awake the 9." Yes, darling, I will rhyme for you. What legend shall I drew? Shall I now fold you in my arms, and drifting down life's stream, mid singing birds and nodding flowers, pour forth my soul in love, in accents soft and tender as the cooing of a dove? Or shall I tell you, dearest one, why yonder's rippling stream first gained the name Tallulah in an age that's now a dream? Well now, pillow your head upon my breast. The legend is weird and wild. I fear me much its harrowing scenes will shock thee, gentle child. Will you listen while we're watching for the far-famed phantom boat? Perhaps the tale will lead us to catch the first faint note of Tallulah's wondrous music as she floats down this stream. For I assure you, darling, this legend is no dream. Where we now sit, in days gone by, the stealthy panther crept, and bears and wolves and horrid hordes their tireless vigils kept. Turkey, deer, and beaver were scattered far and wide, and here the lordly savage stalked in all his pristine pride. The Creeks then ruled this forest, from Suwannee to the sea, a haughty, bold, and cruel race, cunning, treacherous, wild, and free. To hunt and fish, and boast and fight, were the duties of a brave, while woman, alas, sweet woman, was but a cowering slave. No grant had she to breathe her wrongs before the council fire, nor dared she utter a single word to gain her heart's desire, until her savage master first gave her leave to speak, nor dared she then to brave his will, lest he his vengeance wreak. Yet ever and anon there rose a woman whose proud soul ignored those self-created gods and spurned their base control. Such was the brave Tallulah, whose spirit haunts this stream. In a phantom barge it glides along, like a wraith in a troubled dream. 'Tis said she haunts this river, alone on a misty night, and that each one who sees her is palled with a strange affright. And why she haunts this river is the burden of my tale, and none who have a tender heart but will her fate bewail. Tallulah was Ocallah's child, to whom the Creeks ascribe the name of the boldest leader that ever led their tribe. A savage of Herculean build, with fierce and restless eye, his haughty lip deigned not to smile, and scorned to breathe a sigh. Tallulah was his pride and joy, the only thing he loved on earth, since she became an orphan at the fatal hour of birth. The superstitious savage deemed her mother's spirit nigh, and thought who harmed an orphan by a spirit hand should die. She was born, too, in a castle, gifted with second sight. Friends of earth and sea and air at her command would fight. Her raven locks and soulful eyes, her faultless form and peerless face, and voice of wondrous melody, awed and charmed her race. She reigned an undisputed queen, all her mandates must obey, and even the fierce Ocallah was obedient to her sway. Yet even she was powerless to stay the raging flood of tireless, deathless, savage hate that sought the white man's blood. Ocala's hatred of the whites was known both far and near. Brave hunters spake his name with awe, and women in trembling fear. At last he grew so treacherous, no white man dared come nigh, till a trio of gallant hunters determined he should die. They knew 'twas a dangerous mission on which their steps were bent, yet the prayers of honest settlers their true hearts courage lent. As they neared the sleeping village where Ocala awaited his doom, they flitted like weird spectres in the silent midnight gloom. There, spread before their vision, 500 wigwams lay, a savage guerdon of defense for him they sought to slay. To the silent village center our gallant hunters crept, to the door of the largest wigwam where the proud Ocala slept. Stepping across the prostrate form of the sentinel at the door, they breathed a prayer for absent ones whom they might see no more. 3 knives flashed in the midnight air, then fell with a sickening thud. Ocala, Napoleon of his tribe, lay withering in his blood. But hark! What means that fierce war whoop, resounding loud and clear? 'Tis the bugle blast that calls each brave when the pale-faced foe is near. Gathering fast in the midnight gloom, they form the circle of death around the dauntless hunters who stand with bated breath, awaiting the savage onslaught, determined to sell their lives to the service of their country and the freedom of men's wives, while pitying heaven aids them by the darkness of the night, since not a star will lend its aid to guide their foes aright. Now facing north and east and west, they meet the savage foes, recruiting Charon's army by every lusty blow. But still they come in hideous swarms, like hounds let loose from hell, till overborne by numbers our bleeding heroes fell. All honor to the gallant 3, 12 braves in silence lay, with gaping wounds and stony eyes to greet the returning day, while yet a score were nursing wounds which these heroes gave. They signed their right to enter into an unwept grave. Ocala ne'er again would scourge their country far and near, nor wring from helpless innocence an unavailing tear. His death alone destroyed the boast, and stilled the raging flood of senseless pride and passion that bathed his hands in blood. But alas for human prowess, these deeds but roused the ire of savage wretches who now tried to vent their spleen with fire. 3 stakes were now erected, and faggots heaped around, while painted fiends in human shape, exultant, sat aground. They led the helpless captives forth, with many a shout and hoot, and drug them to their awful doom, less feeling than a brute. And first they bound Hugh Cannon, whose descendants, love, you know. I pointed out to you last fall, when we were at the show. They bound him to the cruel stake before his comrades' eyes, and scornfully they bade them mark how a pale-faced coward dies. Thank God his captors were deceived. He smiled amid the flame, and with his fast expiring breath, these words bequeathed to fame. To suffer in a noble cause is sweet beyond compare. These greedy flames that lick my blood but light a vision fair, where heroism and heroes sweep the still resounding lyre. Heaven's harmonies have quenched the tortures of this fire. Tumultuous raptures round me roll, heaven's pearly gates ajar. My spirit soars on fleshless wing beyond the faintest star. O blissful death, O vision fair, what sweet celestial glories shine! The loved and lost of earlier years are now forever mine. The savage horde in silence stood and listened as he sang, while even their untaught eyes could see he suffered not a pang. No yell triumphant smote his ear, awe silenced every tongue, and many a heart beat faster as he his requiem sung. Then lion-hearted Conway, beneath whose eagle eye even savage foes once trembled, was offered up to die. Defiant still, mid writhing flames, he heaped on them his scorn, and with true prophetic voice he doomed their race unborn. Rejoice, rejoice, ye howling fiends! Distort your hideous face! Soon the white man's wrath shall sweep from earth your blood-stained race, while shining fields and cities fair attest the white man's power. You accursed creeks shall be tradition's useless dower. Now comes your own ancestor, the gallant brave McCrae, who planned this glorious campaign and led the awful fight. He was a perfect Hercules, cast in Apollo's mold, with a heart of witching tenderness, yet proud and dauntless soul. Oft had he visited this tribe, on peaceful mission bent, and to many a savage his kind assistance lent. Yet little dreamed he, at this hour, one heart amid that throng still beat responsive to his own, attuned to love's mad song. Yet as they bound him to the stake and raised the flaming brand, the chief that held it fell a corpse, killed by a woman's hand. And Indian maiden loosed his bands and raised her voice on high, "Who harms my pale-faced lover by Tallulah's hand shall die." Behold the savage concourse stand, transfixed by silent awe, and gaze upon Ocala's child, held sacred by their law. They feared Ocala's spirit might then be hovering nigh, nor dared to harm his darling child, lest he who harmed her die. The queen, with head and form erect, bore McCrae undismayed, and in her father's wigwam, who wounded lover laid. Then bending gently o'er him, each wound she rightly dressed, and with sweet plaintive melodies lured the weary one to rest. At dawning light McCrae awoke, his queen still lingering there. His eyes bespoke his gratitude, his lips were moved in prayer, for the lithe and graceful maiden, whose love he knew to be pure as early morning's blush, yet deathless as eternity. Although once failed his savage foes, still thirsted for his blood. The hate within their bosoms was as tireless as a flood. Not daring open violence, they sought Oneida's craft, and 'neath the guise of friendship gave the lovers a sleeping draught. When the mighty god of slumber had locked them fast in sleep, the wily savage entered, his fearful oath to keep. They took McCrae to the river, in sight of these roaring falls, whose sheer descent, 200 feet, the stoutest heart appalls. They bound him fast in a frail canoe, set adrift mid current's flow, believing his life would be dashed out on the jagged rocks below. Then gladly turning homeward, a ready lie they make, to appease her burning anger, when Tallulah shall awake. Slowly the doomed man drifted, yet faster at each breath. The quickening current bore him to the open gates of death. Yet still he slept, aye, slept and dreamed of the proud creek's peerless flower, who, for deathless love of him, had braved her nation's power, spurned her murdered seeress corpse, and to his murderer clung, aye, on the spot that drank his blood, love's soothing ditties sung. Dreamed of the eyes that flashed with fire when his foeman dared to draw nigh, yet softened into tenderness at her lover's faintest sigh. Dreams of the hand that sped the dart that pierced the chieftain's breast, yet with such witching tenderness could tremble and caress. Dreams of the heart that proudly braved a nation's deadly hate, yet at a lover's first command would brook a martyr's fate. Dreams of the hour when Tallulah, who so bravely saved his life, shall desert her baffled kinsman to become a white man's wife. Dreams of how he would love and prize her, shielding her with tenderest care, spending time and life and fortune but to grant her lightest prayer. But his dream is rudely broken, and his blanched lip loudly calls, for he hears the well-known rumbling of the river's awful falls. Life was sweet, death was so near, and he so young to die. No wonder that his trembling lips sought mercy from on high. He bore 10,000 tortures with every passing breath, as he lay bound and helpless, gliding swiftly on to death. He raised his clarion voice above the deafening roar. Great heavens, can a human cry reach that resounding shore? Yes, yes, a once familiar voice calls loudly from that shore, and a well-known trapper woos time to life and hope once more. By an effort born of hope renewed, McCrae sprang to his feet. The trapper saw, his lariat flew, his outstretched hands to greet. "Steady," the practical huntsman cried, "your peril is almost o'er. Steady for a moment, your foot shall press the shore." Then as he drew the skiff ashore, he recognized McCrae, but gazed in silent wonder, for late raven locks were gray. And never to his dying day would McCrae view the place where, in suspended agony, he met death face to face. He shuddered at an Indian's name, and soon forgot the queen, who once so bravely saved him from a nation's senseless spleen. He wooed and won a maiden, whose blue eyes, like your own, held within their liquid depths love's nectarine full blown. And as I press your luscious lips, I praise thee, brave McCrae, whose dauntless courage gave to me the girl I hold today. Oh yes, forgive me, darling, I did almost forget. But how can mortal silence keep, by such sweet eyes beset? Grant me the boon of one more kiss, and gaze into my face. Light fancy by your radiant eyes, Tallulah's fate to trace. Still let the pressure of your hand chain me in rapture to the earth, for I must offer thoughts tonight that ne'er before had birth. No idle dreamer dares to pierce the mystery of this stream, nor would I dare to bold emprise, save that your wish I deem. The highest law my loving heart can now or ever know, and 'neath the witchery of your smile my raptured numbers glow. My fancy soars on eager wing, and will, perhaps at last, gladly at your high behest, unfold the misty past. Tallulah slept till evening shades had deepened into night, and woke alas to find herself bereft of her brave knight. Her Indian wit soon taught her Oguchu was to blame, and hastily she found him, her eyes and cheeks aflame. Oguchu knows your mission. Your pale-faced lover fled, while Tallulah's starlit eyes were wandering mid the dead. He is not worthy of your love. Let my sister choose a mate. Oguchu's lodge is open. Will my sister spurn her fate? My pale-faced lover is a brave, Tallulah proudly cried. He never fled from friend or foe. Oguchu, thou hast lied. Thy double tongue is poison-tipped, thy words a coward's dart. Before I clasp thy loathsome form, let panthers rend my heart. Speak, coward, speak. Where is my brave? Tallulah asks ye where. Speak, lest I summon by a word the friend of earth and air, to tear your quivering limbs apart, you lying treacherous chief. Speak the truth, you Indian dog. The night is growing brief. The awestruck chief is conquered, and tells with bated breath where last he saw him drifting into the jaws of death. Tallulah heard, and wild despair hurled reason from her throne. Lo, at her feet the wretches crouched, their treachery to atone. Up, up, you cowards! Up, you knaves! And lead me to the place. Tallulah's hand shall save him yet, or curse your coward race. 'Tis mine to speak, yours to obey. I am your virgin queen. I swear to save my lover, or never more be seen. They led her to the river, and pointing to the place, they stood like criminals abashed before the judge's face. She spurned their pleading counsel, and springing in a boat, she cast the oars from her, and set the skiff afloat. Then as she gazed adown the stream, her eyes were all aglow with that deep yearning passion such hearts alone can know. While sitting in the boat erect, with an Indian's willowy grace, she sang in tuneful numbers a song time can't efface. I am coming, 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 slowly drifting down the stream, while my heart is yearning, yearning for the idol of love's dream. I have left them, left them, left them. Farewell, treacherous Indian race. I can hear him calling, calling, and I go to seek his face. Now I'm gliding, 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 and I hear the awful roar of the waters tumbling, tumbling, where no boat will need an oar. Now I'm rushing, 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 and the spray obscures my sight. The angry waters, leaping, leaping, chill me with a strange affright. Oh, I see him, see him, see him, and I welcome death's alarms. Oh, I'm swiftly falling, falling, and I spring into his arms. Not a trace of boat or maiden could the savage searchers find, and they fled the spot in terror, daring not to look behind. Nor would they tarry near the river, but moved their wigwams far away. No savage creek would linger near the spot by night and day. And tradition says her spirit may be seen on nights like this, when the heavy moon, mist-laden, greets the river with a kiss. Not in vain will be our vigil, if Tallulah knows tonight in your precious veins is flowing genuine blood of her brave knight. Look, look, mid the river's silvery sheen, Tallulah's phantom boat is seen, while the air vibrates like a quivering lyre, touched by the hands of an angel choir. O wondrous music, soft and low, like rippling streamlets' gentle flow. O pathos-laden heart's refrain, no mortal lips can breathe that strain. Immortal love, not even death, can damp thy flame or chill thy breath. Nay, while eternal ages roll, 'tis thine to feed the hungry soul. With manna dipped in passion's fire, true birthright of the heart's desire. Blessed food no mortal lips can take, and fail enrapturing bliss to wake. Heaven's cornerstone, earth's chief delight, Tallulah's captive soul tonight, is but living o'er the dream thou didst create beside this stream. Her hapless fate all must deplore, self-sacrificed in days of yore. And could Tallulah live again, at least one heart would soothe her pain. The legend may be overdrawn, yet 'tis not all a dream. Nor will you ever say again, this is no haunted stream. Other eyes beside our own have seen the phantom boat, and other ears than ours have heard the wild, weird music float. But precious little darling, as I strain thee to my breast, I am conscious you are weary, thus deprived of needful rest. Let us hasten to thy cottage, parting with a lingering kiss. Little Daisy then can slumber and awake in perfect bliss.